Whatever franchise draft me, they're going to be extremely happy they made that decision.
That he did play in a very cushy offense.
When people say I'm not, one of the top quarterbacks or the top quarterback, is what are y'all going based off of?
The draft's a long way away, but there's still lots of speculation to be made, and I think an interesting conversation that needs to be had is this one about Jaxson Dart and Shedeur. Now, a lot of you, some of my viewers, think I've been a little bit unfair to Jaxson Dart, and I want to make sure and I want to make it clear, I have no ill will against Jaxson Dart. I actually think he's a fun player to watch, but this is a player I've been watching since he came on the scene at USC. 4-5 star, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody who was really supposed to usher in and carry the lineage of great quarterbacks under old Lincoln Riley, right? But it just didn't pan out. He wasn't the guy at USC. He wasn't amazing his first year at Ole Miss. And then this year, Statistical puts it together, but in a very quarterback-friendly offense, it has a lot of people questioning, especially when you talk about the track record of Ole Miss quarterbacks, specifically under Lane Kiffin. I know when I want to talk about Eli, specifically under Lane Kiffin, they have a bit of an Ohio State, stench to them. But we're going to get into that. We're going to listen to Mike Mayock. We're going to listen to Shedeur Sanders. We're going to even listen to Warren Sapp, give their some opinions on the comparisons, the contrast, some of the media lies that continue to happen. And then we're going to look at some football, right? We're going to watch Jaxson Dart, look at a little film, look at some stats, compare some things, and really find out who should be drafted first, Shedeur Sanders or Jaxson Dart. Man, I really appreciate y'all watching these videos. Like it if you like football videos in general. Look, it's off season, so I'm mainly a college football channel, but off season, we're going to get a little draft, we're going to get a little of this, get a little of that. Let me know if there's anything you want to see. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you don't like it, subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. Let's hop right into it. I want to start with this. I heard Mike Mayock, the former Raiders GM, say something interesting. He said that both Shedeur Sanders and Jaxson Dart are kind of similar players. So let's see where this is happening here. Let's see what he thinks.
Jigsaw puzzles going around, and I think Jaxson Dart is saying, "Wait a minute, what about me? I'm a first round guy," and he potentially could be, Rich. And I think he's really similar to Shedeur Sanders with the things they do well. I think they both throw with anticipation. I think they throw with timing, and they throw with accuracy. Neither of them is a dynamic athlete, yet they can make you miss and maneuver in the pocket. Both of them have to win with anticipation and pocket mechanics. Now, you bring in the Louisville kid, who is now going to force me, Rich, to go back and watch some more tape on him. Okay? He wasn't even on my list back in August to watch tape of quarterbacks. And now Rich Eisen is saying, is he in the first round conversation?
I think this conversation, especially about the Louisville kid, shout out to him. It really stems from the fact that how this draft is perceived, especially from the quarterback level, it's perceived as an extremely weak quarterback draft. So I think it opens the lane to that. I'm not someone who's just gonna sit here and say, oh, because the media is trying to go after Shedeur Sanders, that's the only reason why Jaxson Dart is. No, like I said, Jaxson Dart is a fun player to watch. He clearly is one of those vocal leader type, emotional leader type guys. Like he's one of those dudes. I keep making this joke about he's a surfer dude and yada yada yada. I don't mean that in jest. I mean that in a positive way. Like that's not like, if you've played football, there's a type of laid back surfer dude vibe that Jaxson Dart gives that sometimes help. That there's different types of quarterbacks, and even in that demeanor, Jaxson Dart and Shedeur are similar, and that's why my issue is with the whole trying to downplay Shedeur and then uptick Jaxson. It's like, Jaxson Dart has a bit of calm confidence too. He's not oh you mother. He's not like Chad Kelly. You know what I'm saying? He's not out there, but he's got some fire to him. He's got some gumption to him, just like Shedeur. So I think that the comparisons not only what they're doing and how they deliver the football, but I do have to disagree with the similarities on the level of what they do. We're gonna look at the stats and show you what that. Because I referenced it as a quarterback-friendly system, what that does for you statistically, and we're gonna look at it in full force. But really, what I want to say is that I like Jaxson Dart, and I hope that he goes somewhere is great. But understand what is propaganda, and understand that this has happened 1,000 other times. I don't hate Jaxson Dart. I wish him the best. I hope Shedeur and Jaxson Dart get, but why we gotta take one down to bring another one up. So let's hear what Shedeur Sanders has to say. He's been talking on the pod. Little clip here.
Whatever franchise draft me, they're gonna be extremely happy they made that decision. It was two questions during the combine that was the most asked questions. One, how is it gonna be when Pop's not there no more? And the second one was, what type of player are they getting whenever they draft me? First one, me and Pops had a good run, but all good things must come to an end. And the thing is, it's different if you didn't know it was was going to come to an end at one day and it just happened, that's more like traumatic or something, but you already mentally was ready for that day. Secondly, what's the team going to get if they draft me? Well, one, the experience is there. Like, let's just get that out. The experience is there for what these teams are trying to do. Take a team that's not so good and change it and have instant success. That's all I've been doing for the past years of my life since I've been playing. We always wasn't in the best situation team-wise, but we always made it work and got the most out of it. So that's the thing. Like, I done it repeatedly over and over. And it's just like, whatever franchise draft me, they're going to be extremely happy they made that decision because of the experience. And I know what it's going to take for us to be able to have immediate wins. That's what I'm able to guarantee.
I think that perfectly kind of transitions to our next point, and when we get to some stats, and we're going to look at some other things here, because again, even 6'2", 25, like there's a lot of similarities between Jaxson Dart and Shedeur. Like I think a lot more than people I think are open to think about. But here's a big difference. We talk about Shedeur Sanders. He keeps saying, and he said it in his interviews. Now he's saying that in the personal interviews, he even said it in this idea that, hey, we brought instant success to places where things weren't statistically or just in general set up well for us. So I want to take a look at last year. Actually, before we get here, let's take a look at some stats. Let's take a look at some stats from Jaxson Dart, Shedeur Sanders. First of all, measures 6'2" and 2. Cam Ward 6'1". Actually, Shedeur Sanders is actually at 6'1". So Shedeur, with Jaxson is a full 6 foot. Is that a bigger hand? 3/8? Is 3/8? But no, bigger hand. There you go. And a better size. Interesting. But we had some other stats here. So Jaxson Dart's advanced analytics: 11.9 average depth of target, 7.1% big time throw rate, 10.7 yards per attempt. They were all better than Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. The most impressive part: Jaxson Dart accomplished this while having less time to throw, 2.77 than them. Okay, so that apparently in the advanced statistical standpoint. Now, I don't know if that advanced statistics also counts for RPOs and how that affects the statistics, because in general, in an RPO, you have less time to throw because you can't let your lineman get downfield. But, let's not poke holes in stats, because stats can make it seem any way they want. But I want to talk about the fact that with all these things, and I think Jaxson Dart is a phenomenal player, an elite player, and does amazing things and put up great statistical numbers, which I might have him up short. But here we go. Let's take a peek at the difference between the rankings of what they had to deal with, right? So from Mississippi, from Ole Miss standpoint, right? From a rushing statistic, because we know what Colorado looks like. They were number 70 rush play percentage, right? They were number 58 in yards a rush, okay? They were number 33 in rushes a game, and they were number 47 in rush yards a game. So to be honest with you, the Ole Miss rushing game in compared to usual, it's not actually as potent as typical. So that's interesting to look at. Now they are one of the number one defensive against the rush, and that's going to help you in other aspects. But then you go from middling to awful to just the worst in all of FBS from Colorado. The worst running, just statistically look at it. They're either the worst or second to worst in every single category, every rushing category at FBS. Okay, interesting. Now, let's go back to the offenses, just straight up. Points a game. Ole Miss is at number 10 when it comes to points a game, number 2 yards a game. Colorado's at number 23 points a game, number 72 yards a game. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And then go down to I think the big number is what we want to talk about. Quarterback sack percentage. Ole Miss at 71. That's middling. And number 19 for throwing percentage, right? Number 107 for Colorado, which is actually not as bad as I think some people make it out to be. Number 107, but still, not great. Not great. And then number 30 for interception percentage thrown, number 30. So, hey, not Ole Miss, Jaxson Dart was able to do it a little more efficiently, it seems, from the interception perspective as well. So, I want to point out that it's not that I think that Jaxson Dart is bad or whatever. We just need to be comparative. If we're going to say that they're so similar, I do think they're similar, except for what they had at their equipment. And we don't even have to talk about the defense, because even though Colorado defense wasn't that terrible, Ole Miss has an elite defense. They got multiple first-round picks on that defensive line, argue at a wall. And then we go to the passing statistics, pass play percentage, number 55, number 15 in completion percentage, which is amazing. This is also crazy. Colorado's number 2 at 72.9 on completion percentage. So it's interesting. Number 2 in yards of play, number 24 yards of play for Colorado. Interesting setup there. I think it kind of shows the bigger differences between the two. But let's kind of get deeper into these little vidges and really more about him. I think something big that helped him at the combine is that he did throw, right? I don't think there was any, or at least a mass amount of negatives from him. I think there was only positives from him throwing. Obviously, there he is whipping that thing against the mat, throwing a duck. But I mean, it doesn't matter. He's just trying to throw hard. So here is a bit of good tape, a little nuance here. One nuance I've seen from Jaxson Dart on tape this year, and here to Jack Beck. Is recognition of defenders with their back turned to the ball, typically man coverage. He's become extremely comfortable placing throws like this, putting his target in great shape to make play in the ball. Again, I want to stress, Jaxson Dart is a good quarterback. He's not some bum. Oh, okay. I don't know why he's doing that. I'm not saying he's some bum. I'm saying that how did we go from, oh, yeah, he puts up a lot of stats and he's cool, to then, oh, well, I mean, everybody wants him now. Pretty ball there, too. Pretty ball. I mean, I would like to see him, take advantage of all the space that he has back here and kind of layer it over so Jack Beck doesn't have to go for a big jump ball like that. But, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? I think, again, the recognition part of that, and I think that helps when you talk about the RPO type offenses, right? Because a lot of what you're trying to attack in those RPOs, especially when you talk about slants and leaks and things like that, is going to be something where you're hoping that defender's backstone, you're hoping that linebacker clears out, you're hoping that linebacker is flowing hard or that safety is flowing hard, opposite, so that hole opens up and you can just spam it. So I think it's wrong to say that him being in this RPO heavy offense, having dynamic players around him, XYZ, even though, I mean, Shedeur Sanders had dynamic players, so I'm not gonna, anyway, hold that against Jaxson Dart. I think the bigger conversation needs to be had of why is this mess up, and what are we rating more out of, right? Are we rating the experience from Shedeur Sanders, right? And being in a lot of nasty situations where, as Jaxson Dart, he's been in some slugfests himself. He's been in some good games and he's won some good games, but he's also lost some good games. And Shedeur Sanders has lost some good games too. He's left a lot of points on the table, left leads on the table. So I think, I don't know, the more I talk about it, the more that they sound so similar to me. So what I'll say is I don't want to cast Jaxson Dart aside. I just want it to be known that I think Jaxson Dart should rise because you see some aspects of what you see in Shedeur. But the reason why we have Shedeur above is the completion percentage. It's things like, the mass anticipation. And so, I was about to get into another clip, but regardless, I don't want to say that to even pull down Jaxson Dart, because I think he's going to be a good quarterback. And now even looking at his measurables, he seems like he has one of the higher ceilings, right? He doesn't have the zip that Cam Ward has, but not a lot of quarterbacks have that zip. But I think he has a good touch. I think he throws a good ball. So a lot of positives from Jaxson Dart. I don't want this to be something where we're telling. So NFL Rookie Watch, I think this was in the middle of the combine. Jaxson Dart could reportedly overtake Shedeur Sanders as QB2 in this year's draft with a strong showing at the combine, according to an NFL GM. Dart is reportedly a top name when asking NFL GMs who they're most excited to see work out this year's combine. The Giants, Browns, Raiders, Jets, everybody. Dart has all the intangibles. Yes, he does. And the scouts are valuing a top prospect. Not to mention, he's outdueled names like Jaden Daniels, Drew Aller, and Will Levis. Again, he's got some pins in his hat. I think this is more of a, hey, let's give Jaxson Dart his credit. Because he did some things. He did a lot of help. He helped himself a lot at the Senior Bowl, of course. Here he is putting that thing out there, attacking the center here. He's looking left, and he's just going to go ahead and attack that. Nice balls here, too. I mean, he's putting them in some spots. I think he really took his time. I think he took his time to show that he could be a different type of thrower, because those were great throws there. And then this is another angle of those throws too. I mean, it kind of goes back to that whole idea of being able to attack man, attack the body. And I really like his ball placement. I don't think he has the placement of Shedeur Sanders, but I think his intentions when he plays it, if that makes sense, right? Like I think he goes to the right spot, and he typically makes the right decision. You know what I mean? I don't think it's anything that's going to blow anybody away. I don't think the placement is going to blow anybody away, but I think if he makes enough right decisions, I don't see him having a bad career. And this is nice. This is
beautiful.
This is the shower of that touch, the show that he can do that. I want to watch his lower body here. 1, 2, skip back. Oh yeah, smooth, clear, very calm, cool, and collected. I like to see that from Jaxson Dart. So again, I think. Oh wait, we got another one. What's this one? Ole Miss Jaxson Dart off platform. Here it is. And this is the reason. I think the thing that there you go, gets people going the most, right? He's got some wiggle. Again, he's no elite athlete or anything like that, but he's definitely got some wiggle on him. He can get things done. I just think it's awesome. It's awesome to see both of these young gentlemen rise. It's not awesome to see one get kind of thrown down and being called XYZ. I want to read this. This was an evaluation of Shedeur Sanders, and specifically going back to the difference between Colorado's offense. So Colorado's offense, and we heard Pat Schumer come in, defend Deion Sanders, XYZ. So not Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, right, to the media and stuff like that. I thought that was dope. But he wasn't really doing them no favors when it came to the actual football, because it says right here, and this is just an evaluation, talking about it, that the Colorado's offense is offensive. Apparently, it's frustrating, not pro style at all, static, little to no motion or shifts. And we reread this before. Open edges, no tight ends, no run game. We showed you the stats on that. Offensive line is rough, struggles with stunt games, little pocket movement, screen and near line scrimmage damage. Oh my God, number 31. I don't know what number 31 is doing, but oh my God. I think the conversation of who Jaxson Dart needs to be that he's a good guy. And let's go back and finish off with that whole surfer dude mentality that I'm talking about. And the reason why I think that he deserves success and he deserves to be brought up. But why do we have to do it while pulling Shedeur and acting like Shedeur is some evil, awful person that XYZ? Is just like, I don't believe that. I think these are two great quarterbacks that tangibly you can see those things from Jaxson Dart, but the question still remains that he did play in a very cushy offense. He did start at USC. He started from offensive guru to offensive guru, while Shedeur Sanders was dealing with a dude who wanted him to die, I think. I don't know what was going on. But let's hear Ole Miss quarterback praise the Steelers coaching staff. Apparently he's already had some conversations. Let's check it out.
Yeah, the Steelers have been great. Coach Smith, Coach Tomlin, I think they're great coaches, a lead at what they do, and they've had a ton of success everywhere they've been, and especially for Coach Tomlin, being able to sustain that success is extremely impressive. So had a lot of fun making relationships with them.
And then here he is kind of speaking for Austin Simmons at the Combine and things like that.
What can we expect out of Austin Simmons next year?
Yeah, he's an elite talent. I haven't really seen anybody like him who can really spin the ball with his arm talent. So I'm really excited for him. He's going to take a huge step leadership-wise this year, and really excited for the team to grow. And I think they're just going to pick up where we left off.
Jaxson.
I think there's a lot of things. You can just turn on the tape and watch it. Things just fit.
What would you say if you had to point to something that separates you from the other quarterbacks? What would you say that is?
Honestly, I'm just going to keep that in between my meetings. So I appreciate the question, though. You think?
Hey man, that boy. So it's so interesting that was never, spun as like a negative thing. But smart guy.
Journal and Jackson Powers Johnson.
Smart guy. And then let's get one more here.
I just feel like the product that I put out there, has been a pretty good one these last 2 years. And, I knew eventually things were going to start swinging around once they were able to watch more film and check up on us and whatnot. But really just want to come out and compete every single day, put the best product I can.
Yeah, and I think he's done that, and I think he's done that to a great degree. So again, this video was more about setting the record straight on why I feel what I feel. I don't feel like Jaxson Dart is a terrible quarterback. I also don't feel like Shedeur Sanders is the greatest quarterback walking. I think it's a good conversation to call them comparable, but you can't compare the situations in whatsoever because Shedeur was fighting for his life. Jaxson Dart made the best and did what he was supposed to do with his abilities. I think he deserves this draft stock rise because he's somebody, again, I've been watching since the USC days, hoping that he panned out and hoping that he did big. So maybe the NFL, I feel like he has Steelers written all over him, me personally. But I think at the end of the day, all of this, like I say in almost every draft day, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if Jaxson goes before Shedeur because it's all about fit. This is all about the NFL. What matters is the next 3 years if either of these people are even starting or are they competing for Super Bowls. Like that's what actually matters. But hey man, we're bored. I just wanted to make sure I want to be fair to my Ole Miss guys. I do have Ole Miss people who watch. And we're going to be breaking down some Ole Miss, what's it called, spring, whenever we get more spring footage. Obviously, I don't know when the spring starts. More spring football happening, so let me know if y'all want to see anything in particular, any teams in particular, any type of content in particular. You know we got plenty of NILs coverage coming. We got transfer portal things coming. Lots of fun stuff, man. I just really appreciate y'all watching. Like the video if you like it. Dislike if you don't like it. Subscribe if you enjoy it, man. We'll see you next time. Peace.